Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today's video is a follow-up video from the video I put out yesterday in regards to the daily 9 buy. You could see here we had a 9 buy, and sure enough, look at the response the day after that 9 was printed. I mean, you could see a pretty powerful engulfing candle, pretty much engulfing this candle, this candle, this candle, and this 6 candle here, which is pretty nice to see. Now, this doesn't mean we're going to go to the moon, right? It could just be a pullback to the upside, right? But it's nice to see that the indicator is consistently giving validation. You could see here's a 9 sell, and you could see we dumped, right? And it printed these red dots right here, and we couldn't get above, couldn't get above, couldn't get above, and then we finally broke above, but it was a fake out, and then we came all the way down. Now we have a 9 buy. So, and by the way, this whole structure here is an A, B, C potentially, right? So, or otherwise known as a flat, maybe an expanded flat or irregular flat. So you could see we're probably, this is A, this is B, and now we're in wave C. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe we're in the 4th wave, and we still have to come down for wave 5. I still want to see Bitcoin come down and retest that 37K area, specifically backtesting the bull market support band, number 1, and or backtesting this range right up in here. So somewhere in here, we want to see it backtest. So it doesn't have to, right? It doesn't have to get down in here, but that's something I'd like to see happen. What could also be occurring too is we could have this shoulder here. We have another head, and the price comes down. Maybe we're creating another shoulder here, right? In which case, let's figure out what that measured move would be. So if I put the neckline down sloping, and then I take it from the bodies down to the neckline, and then I take this trend line and then I'll put it right underneath, depending where it falls, right about there. So that gets us to about 32.9. So about 30K, or 33K, sorry. So maybe that could be, maybe that's telling the story here of us getting back down into here, because at some point I've been saying we should come down eventually and backtest this this range here, because you could see this was a big range. I believe it was like 5 or 6 months, right? We broke out of the range, and now it's potentially coming back down to backtest the range to confirm the breakout, because here was your resistance here. We broke above the resistance, right? So we broke out, but we never confirmed the breakout, because in order to confirm a breakout, you either, one, have to get so away from the price it's irrelevant, or number 2, you have to come all the way back down to back test the top of the range, because you can see the price is below it. Now the price is above it. So it's resistance, now previous resistance acting as new support. Then we can get a, hopefully, a reversal, or maybe what I'm thinking here is some type of distribution range. So basically a range that looks like this. And my theory, or my hope, is to as we come down and backtest here, and as we oscillate back to the upside, these oscillations can give us a pretty nice alt season, or I shouldn't say alt season, but at least furthering the development of certain altcoins going into their higher retracements, right? Because if you look here, for example, at Bitcoin, Bitcoin had a beautiful 618 retracement. But if you look at something like Theta, Theta's still way down in its accumulation range down in here, right? So you could see it's still down at the base or down at the floor. So basically still wanting to see Theta get back up here. And various other altcoins like XRP and a few others that haven't completed or look like they completed their retracements. So and we know, right, when Bitcoin stalls out in its retracement levels up here, right? So pretend this is Bitcoin up in here. As Bitcoin's going down, we can see it's going down. But as Bitcoin goes up, as it oscillates up and down, right? As it's going up, that's when we can catch up. We can really catch up to the to where it should be, right? And then as it pulls back, we can get a pullback. You don't need Bitcoin doing this in order for altcoins to go. What you need is Bitcoin to do this, but then go sideways for a while. And that's hopefully what's happening now. So I've had many examples on the previous videos about how that looks. And basically you have, well, before I do that, just real quick, you have, this obviously this big bull run here. And once Bitcoin stalled out, that's when a lot of the altcoins started ripping incredibly high to the upside. So, I mean, if you look at Theta, this big move from Theta right here, this monster move, basically the entire bull run, right, right here, occurred when Bitcoin was already up at the top. So as it oscillated up, that's when you saw the big move up. And then this pullback here, right, is when Bitcoin pulled back. So these little moves up, little moves up, little move down, little move up, little move down. Basically just ranging is all it needs. So basically the environment you need is, number one, going up. Number two, distribution or ranging, right? And then number three, you want to see the altcoins going flat here, right? Flat, 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 flat. And then once you get to here, then all of a sudden they catch up like instantly. So that's usually what happens. So that could be potentially what's happening here. So, we have a range here. We have a range here. And we have another range happening here. So as we're going down, we're going down. As we're going up, we're going, hopefully, when we find support, right? When we find support, I don't know if the support is in yet. My thinking is this is probably just a bounce before more downside, because you could see, I mean, look at this move here. From here all the way up there. So all we had was this little tiny pullback, and everybody's flipping out, right? Like, but doesn't Bitcoin deserve a cool down, a pullback, right? Especially going, all the way from, 2023 all the way to the end of 2024. And now it's pulling back. I mean, you can see these pullbacks here, pullback here, pullback here, and now we're getting another pullback. And until it starts breaking this support, then once you break this, then it's time to say, okay, now it's looking different, and we're going into something much bigger. In which case, that could possibly be reaccumulation, because as you know, the phases, right? We have a rise, crash, retrace. You go down into reaccumulation, and then you sort of range, and then you go into another new all-time high. Is usually how the cycle works. I mean, you could see it doing exactly that here. We have a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, and then you're going sideways, right, for a while. So Bitcoin could be somewhere up here, right? Or hopefully it's somewhere over here, right in here. As you can see, this bear market slash bull market is a little different. And by the way, look at those nines. Look at that. This 9 pulled back. This 9 pulled back. This 9 pulled back. So the 9s are actually pretty good. And look at this. This 9 right here called the very top. And then this 9 right here called the retracement. And this 9 buy called the pull, the reversal here. Right? So you can see this 9 didn't work out. This 9 didn't work out. But they don't always work out. But that's why you use it right with other indicators. So again, hopefully Bitcoin's doing something like this, where we're in this third little range in here, right? So let me go to the weekly chart, or even the 6-day, it don't matter. Well, actually, let's go to the 2-week chart. And just noticing, look at the 2-week chart here. Look at the 9 called the actual top of the bull market, right? Also called the top. Not too good over here, but not too bad either. But look at here. The 9 here called the top of this retracement pretty well. This 9 buy called not a reversal, but a bounce, right? So sometimes the 9s can give a bounce, or they can give a full-on reversal. You could see here, right? This was just a pullback. We came all the way up. We had a 9 sell called the very top. We pulled back into the bull market support band. Then it kicked off the new bull run, right? Then we had another 9, printed these red dots, sort of went sideways. We broke up, had distribution, and then finally it was over. So yeah. So what do I think is going to happen? I'm thinking, and check this out, we're on actually an 8 here. So in 2 days, we're going to get a 9. So dun dun dun. So think about that. When you go up on the higher time frames, you can see here we had a 9. We pulled back for 2, 4, 6 weeks. We pulled back 6 weeks, right? So if I just think here, we pull back for 6 weeks. Maybe we connect to the bull market support band. If we can't, then we come all the way down here. So basically this little box right here is where we want to keep an eye on, because we haven't, we're not even ranging yet. We're still at the top of the range. So what has to happen, right, is the price needs to come down to the bottom of the range. Then as it comes back up, that's where you get your breakouts in theta, right? That's where you can see this breakout in theta occur. Now, it doesn't have to happen, right, for Bitcoin, I mean. So, for example, it could be, it can go down a few different ways. But I do think it's topped. You could see this 7 here, right? It rejected strongly off the price. What could also happen too, there's a lot of things that can happen. But what also can happen is we can shoot up next week and create a 9, right? In which case, let me get down to the 3-day. So, and this is being discussed as well as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're still in wave 4. And in wave 4, we have a flat. And that's something I've talked about a lot, which is this flat. So an A, B, C. Maybe C's not finished yet. Maybe C we get down a little bit further. Maybe we bounce up, then come back down into the bull market support band, and that would be wave 4 complete. Then we come back up for wave 5, and then we start ranging, right? You know, there's a whole host of different things that can occur, but at the end of the day, it's all about the altcoins, right? So going to, let's look at XRP real quick. You could see XRP. There it goes. There's the daily chart. We had a 9 buy yesterday. It printed it. So, and now we're getting a reaction off of that 9 buy, which is a good thing. So we could come back up. Here's the bull market support band. You can see it starting to curl down. We can come back up, right, and reject off of it one more time, then come down, and then start to go. And that's sort of my thinking here is we're going to pull back up, then come back down one more time. And that would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So in other words, that would be, actually, let me do it like this. That would be an A, a B, and a C. So something like that, right? And then we can take off. So we still have, maybe, so during this time, right? Let me actually put Bitcoin side by side here. So Bitcoin's on the bottom. Maybe Bitcoin comes back up, right? Creates that left shoulder head and then this right shoulder, right? And then we break down, which causes XRP to then break down. And then it finally finds its range, and I'm thinking that's somewhere between 31 and 37. I know it's a big area, but again, you just don't know where that's going to land. So let me put that line right about there, and because we want Bitcoin to go down. We want Bitcoin to go down and find a bottom at the bottom of the range. To me, the bigger the range, the more of an upswing we have for when Bitcoin goes into a retracement. So you kind of want a big Bitcoin dump, because if you get a big Bitcoin dump, then you're going to get a bigger Bitcoin retracement. If you get a bigger Bitcoin retracement, then you know, for example, here's the big dump, then you get a big retracement. As it's retracing, that's when XRP, THETA, and all the others could, well, not all the others, but a lot of them can break out in a big way. Because you can see here, right, all Bitcoin is doing, potentially, right, is ranging. So, and XRP has been ranging this whole time, and even THETA. So if this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, and Bitcoin already completed its A, B, C, and now it's going to range for a little bit, as it's already in distribution, that's when we can see XRP and all the others take off. There's a big misconception that Bitcoin has to break out, it has to continue higher, and that's not true. All it needs is to range, right? But following or prior to the range, it needed the big run up. So it did. It came down from 16,000 area right down in here. In the, I think 15 or 16,000. And then it went all the way up, right, to about, what was that? About 47,000 or so, 48,000. So it went from 16,000 to 48,000. So there you go. You have the run up. Now you need to range. And as it comes down, we're coming down. As it comes back up, that could be the big breakout. And that's sort of what I'm thinking and what I'm expecting. If that doesn't occur, then what else could be happening? Well, in order for that, we still, we need more data on Bitcoin, because I first of all, I want to know, is this going to turn into a breakout, or is this going to turn into a retracement, then further down, then a breakout, and then we range, or is this just going to continue going down, right, in a range like this? Either way, I'm expecting some type of range. Ranges are really hard to navigate, but at the end of the day, we haven't established the bottom of the range yet. This could be the bottom of the range, right? I don't know. If the, best case scenario, this is just a wave 4, and then we go into wave 5, and then we start to range up here. That would be great, right? But basically, what I'm here to say is, if you're an altcoin holder investor, to me, there's nothing to worry about. I still firmly believe at some point, especially looking at like THETA and THETA Fuel and assets that have this type of structure, that this is just the beginning of something much bigger. So how do we get there is the question. What does Bitcoin need to do in order for us to get up here, right? Now, obviously, it's possible for the price to just continue dumping, but it's so unlikely, because then at that point, you've just established from here basically 2+ years of an accumulation range for nothing. So basically, you were in an accumulation range, you break below the range. What was the point of that? It just created this whole accumulation range for nothing for the last, what was that, 2 years? So if I let's see, we'll start it right here. So let me actually do this, and we'll get the exact amount of days. So I'll stay right there all the way here. That's 615 days thereabout. So it's been in an accumulation range for over 600 days, going in a sideways base, and you're saying that it's got a dump? Nah, I just don't buy it. Now, of course, it's possible, right? And all it takes is a Bitcoin devastating crash or a stock market devastating crash, and then at that point, it doesn't matter, right? But not really going to entertain that until we start breaking these lows in here, especially 68 cents. All THETA has to do is hold above 68 cents. That's all it's got to do. And it's got plenty of wiggle room between now and then. So we'll see how that continues to play. But let's go back to XRP here. And turn on the 9. And let's just focus here on the short term and what could be occurring in the short term. I don't think this C wave is completed yet. We have a 1, 2. I think this, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're probably going to get like a pullback, and then another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that would complete wave C. So it would be, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, and C. And let's get down here and see. And maybe once we get down here, that's when Bitcoin finally finds its range. Maybe that's 31K, maybe that's 37K, somewhere in that area. Right? But for now, for the short term, we could expect a big bounce. Now, this bounce, maybe it breaks us out of here. Maybe we break out of here, and that's all it needed, and then we continue higher, right? If you watch like Blockchain Backer, he's thinking, I don't always agree with him, but he's thinking that this is like the do or die area, because if you look here at the fractal that he's been following, which is this fractal over here, basically we're right in here. So you could see this pullback doesn't really last that long, right? So if this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and A, B, and C, that's too short. I'm thinking A, B, C, and then go. So we'll see what happens. Either way, at some point, this thing is gonna rip, and it's gonna rip hard. And as of now, we're basically just in this upwards channel here. So if I draw this channel, I can draw it here. And let me turn that off. Draw that one more time. You can see here's the bottom of the trend line. Maybe that's where we're heading, down to this trend line, down in there. So remember, this is not financial advice. This is all speculation. I'm basically going through a thought experiment, right? Going through ideas, talking out loud, seeing what makes sense, what doesn't, right? And that's kind of how you figure it out. Now, you don't have to know the answer, right? You don't have to know the answer. What you want to know is sort of the outcome in the most probable way. And to me, the outcome in the most probable way is this at some point. So you could see we have a trend here, support, 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 support. So maybe we come down here for that support, right? We came to the top of the channel. Now we're going back down to the bottom of the channel. Once we get here, we want to see a big impulse, or are we just going to continue up the channel? Now, in the short term, maybe we go back up to the mean of the channel, so the middle line of the channel, then come back down. That's kind of what I'm thinking at the moment. So if I had to guess, my primary idea would be we get a little bounce, and then we continue coming down. We touch the bottom of the channel, and then at that point, Bitcoin's testing the bull market support band, right? Because again, that's the biggest thing at the moment, is touching that bull market support band. Bitcoin Bitcoin has fallen so much. It's fallen 20%, and it still hasn't tested the bull market support band. That's how bullish it continues to be. I mean, everybody's saying, oh, the Bitcoin ETF was a failure, nobody cares. But look, it's still above as long as Bitcoin is above this band, it means nothing. Look how many times, let me go back at the 2017 bull run. Look how many times it came down to test it. I mean, look at this. Look how remarkable this is right here. So we broke above, we tested it once, twice, all up in here. This is like 10 times in here, right? We'll just say once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It tested it 12 plus times, right? And it continued to be one of the biggest bull runs in history, from here all the way up to 20,000, right? And then as the bear market occurred, what happened? It turned into resistance, 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 and then finally collapsed, right? And then what happened? Then we broke above, but we didn't test it. Instead, we just sort of intertwined with it, and that's called reaccumulation, where you have your rise, your crash, your retrace, and now you're reaccumulating, right? So again, there's nothing to be worried about, because we are above the bull market support band. So if I take a measurement, we are approximately We're 16% away from the bull market support band. And Bitcoin, that's a big percentage right there. So, yeah, everybody is, this little tiny thing is nothing. And I could tell people are, a little bearish, because when you're bullish, right, you get more people are talking positive, right, on Twitter or social media or whatever. People are watching more videos. Like, I can tell during this correction, the view count on my videos, and not just mine but others as well, go down, and that's just the way it is, right? It seems like when price goes down, people just kind of don't want to look at it until it's over with, right? And that's fine, and I get it. But I'm here to say there's nothing to be concerned about, not even close, because we're still 15% away from testing it. And the whole point is we want to test it. We want Bitcoin to drop another 15-20% so that it can finally test it. And then once it does test it, then we get a bounce off of it. And then once we get that bounce off of it, that's when XRP, that's when THETA, that's when all the big coins that we want break out, right? So, I mean, look at for example, look at the price of THETA. Look how beautifully it's holding above its bull market support band. I mean, it's doing it killer. Look at that. So, yeah, I think, let's see. We didn't quite make it to a 9, though. Tomorrow we'll get a 9. Right, so right now we're on a red 8. So, oh no, this is the 3-day chart. Oh, so even better, on the 3-day we'll get a 9. If I go here to the daily, we didn't get a 9. We got an 8, and then it flipped the count, which is not, it's okay. Let's see what the 2-day chart says. Yeah, the 2-day is not helpful at all. So, going back to the 3-day, I like the 3-day chart. You could see the 9 here. It called it nicely. But anyway, I think I'll do a separate video for THETA and kind of go over what I'm thinking here. And yeah, it's looking really bullish. This whole thing is a bullish run-up. And then this is just a correction. And now we're testing the bull market support band. So let's get out of here. Let's continue rocking and rolling. So at the end of the day, like I've been saying, this is just a minor speed bump until, we get out of here. So let me actually put Bitcoin up. There we go. So first of all, Bitcoin's in a little bounce, but hopefully the bounce continues to go down and we can test the bull market support band, which would then cause THETA to bounce and then retest the bull market support band. Then Bitcoin goes up, oscillates up in its range. So it finally found its support range, right? So it comes down to the bottom, then it goes up. As Bitcoin goes up in this retracement, that's when THETA just takes off like a madman. Then it comes back down to the bottom of the range, or somewhere in the middle. That's when THETA pulls down just slightly, like it did here. Then it comes back up again, oscillates back up. That's when THETA finally reaches target to where it needs to be. Then Bitcoin either breaks out, which would be great, and then alts can kind of go sideways, right? And then Bitcoin finally, chills out, and then that's when alts catch up again. Or we have all that, right? where we come down, come back up, get back up here, right? Then Bitcoin breaks down, that's when theta goes down into reaccumulation and it goes sideways. And then it goes back into a new all-time high once it's done with reaccumulation. And that would be what? A rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, blast off. So there you go, guys. I am very bullish right now, especially looking at the price of theta. Actually, I'm going to do a separate video going into theta. So I'm going to end this video now, and if you want to watch that video, it'll be uploaded today or tomorrow, and I'm going to go in detail on why this is very bullish. But yeah, until next time, I will catch you guys on the but before I leave, please, if you can, guys, leave a like and a subscribe. It would really help out. And share the video if you have anybody who's wanting to find a new channel, because it's always good to discover new channels, new ideas, right? Yeah, I again appreciate all of you guys for supporting the channel, and it means a lot. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.